You're listening to the Total Music Business Podcast, brought to you by Puzzle Maker Academy. Here's what happens when you think outside the box. It's time to navigate the music industry with confidence with your hosts, Denny McMahon and Andrea Succi.
Welcome to episode 2 of the Total Music Business Podcast. I am one half of your host, Andrea Succi, and I have here your other host half, Danny McMahon. Danny,
hey.
How's it going?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
Yeah, very, very good. Thanks. Live shows are finally on the horizon again, and summer's approaching fast, so life's good at the moment.
Yeah, that's it. Next month is looking promising. Obviously, that's the in the UK at least anyway. That is the in theory the end of the lockdown and the start of live music again. So I'm really, really excited for that and to see where it's going to go. It's been a long time, so here's hoping.
Oh yeah, it definitely has. I cannot wait to be back on stage again. So we're going to start this episode just right before we get to our lovely guest. We're going to give you some release recommendations for the month, which is basically any songs or records that we've come across recently and that you can all check out and add to your playlists if you dig them. So Danny, would you like to kick us off with your release recommendation?
Yeah, so last time I went over a bunch of like Australian country music that I discovered from an Apple Music playlist, and I've been doing the same with another really cool Apple Music playlist, but this time it's Canadian country.
Amazing.
Which again isn't very documented in the mainstream over here like at all. So I've discovered like a ton of new stuff that I'd never really heard before, but there's one song that really, really stood out, which is a song called All I Can Do by Buck 20. It's got a sick groove. Production's really cool. They're completely independent. So go and check them out. Go and check the vibe out. That song in particular is really, really standout. So yeah, it's as I say, it's a perfect summer tune.
Yeah, that's great. I had a little listen to it earlier when we were prepping the episode, and yeah, it sounds amazing. So definitely, guys, check it out. And my release recommendation is Down to Earth by Brett Kissel from his latest album, What Is Life? Which is it's just a great country song for me. It sort of bridges the gap really well between classic, like sort of more old school country and modern production. It starts off with the banjo like leading the song like right into the chorus, and then it opens up and the chorus goes sort of more modern, like more poppy, and it's like really kind of bringing those two worlds together.
No, straight up. It kind of hits me like I've heard a lot of that album as well, and like for me it kind of hits me as like the Brad Paisley of the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I felt that with the album. It's very modern, but also has got a touch of the classic old school in there, and it's done really well. Sort of in a way, I don't know if you've heard Matt Lang. He's Canadian. So and sort of his album also did a very, very similar thing where I feel like it's the perfect blend, and the production is absolutely insane on that album as well.
It's great on that record, isn't it? It's phenomenal. Yeah.
So there we go. There's another one, and we'll add a third release recommendation then. And I think out of Matt Lang's album, I would go with Getcha. Maybe.
Big tune.
Yeah.
Big tune. Yeah.
So yeah, check out all those releases. And I'm going to pass it on to Danny now, who's going to introduce our lovely guests and get into the main topic for today.
Yeah, so we're going to bring in a guest that I met on the other side of the world at the beginning of 2020 before our world went very weird. But it was kind of like the last thing I was sort of able to do out in the big old world was go to the Millennium Music Conference over in Pennsylvania, and I met our guest, which is Jillian Francis, is going to come on today. She is an artist and music brand coach. She focuses on helping overwhelmed creatives focus on their brand and finding a community for the artists. So without further ado, bring it on. Jillian, how are you, my dear?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm good. You even had your own personalised ringtone in the background there to announce you onto the show. That's brilliant.
Yeah, sorry about that. That would be my sister's lunch. So,
amazing.
Oh,
apologies for that one. I
love that. We'll keep that in. We'll keep that in. It's it keeps it real. It keeps it fresh. We love all that stuff. So I've got a couple of questions for you, if that's okay. You've done a lot. You've done a lot of different things as well. And I think it'd be really important for our listeners, particularly our UK audience, to sort of like hear about your journey and where you've been and what you've done. I follow very closely what you do on Instagram in terms of what you're doing with your mentoring stuff, and I find that really fascinating. So sort of as a mentor for creative individuals, what's the one question, because obviously this is very artist driven in terms of what we're doing, What's the one question your clients ask you more than any other?
Oh, this is a really great question because it's a question. They ask me the question that always elicits a question back, which is, how do I grow my audience? And my question back to them is, what about the people that are already engaging with you?
Mm-hmm.
What is it about growing your audience that you need? Because what I do and what I've learned over that, I would say, well, to give a little bit of background is, I come from the traditional music industry side, but I've also been a DIY artist myself for about 10 plus years. And then most recently have become more of a mentor. And I've gone through those questions myself, right? I'm like, why can't I grow my audience? And I started to shift that mindset. And since shifting the mindset of, I need to grow in numbers versus growing in engagement, sales for my clients, my music hit an all-time, I hit 10,000 listeners for the first time. And it was solely based on my 5,000 followers on Instagram, which really, in the grand scheme of things, isn't that much, right? If you're trying to be like commercially successful. And really, I would say even maybe half of those, maybe 30%, maybe even less. No, honestly, if I'm going to go right into engagement and analytics, probably like 5 to 6% are actually engaging with me. But out of that 5 or 6% comes loyalty, comes all the streaming, comes merch buying, comes actual monetization of my business.
Yeah.
So when I talk to my clients, that's the first thing that we talk about is, what do you really want?
Yeah, for sure. I think that is so important, and that is pretty much, that's why one of the reasons I really wanted to bring you on. We've had a couple of conversations about it on, Clubhouse and other platforms. Is the mindset of what that we're trying to create for our guys that that we work with, and that sort of like investing in our course. It's exactly the same thing. It's sort of like people want to go, they want to go car shopping and they want to go and get the Porsche or the BMW straight away. But it's kind of like, how do you get from A to B rather than initially people, or artists want to go from like A to M or A to N, like really quickly. And it's all about, as you say, like growing and nurturing those relationships that you've got initially to help, as I say, monetize. That should be the first goal. Like, any independent artist, the first thing should be, how do you monetize your business? How that for me was the first dream. I don't know about you, but for me, that was the first dream, was like, how do I make music my job? And that should be the foundation for what you're doing. So what you've said there basically backs up that point beautifully. My second question is something a little bit different, but again, I think the listeners will find it really fascinating and really interesting. You mentioned about your work as with management companies. You've lived in different areas of the States and been involved in loads of different things.
Yes.
How would you say that's affected you and your work? Quite an open-ended question, but I would love to hear firstly hear the story, and then hear how you've kind of implemented that into your work as a musician and a mentor.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I guess, I started my music journey in the suburbs of Chicago. So in my experience, growing up in the Midwest, it was, being a musician it was a pipe dream. It was, that's a really cute hobby. Oh, I love that for you. And mind you, like the suburb that I grew up in was a very artistic suburb. So like they really respected the art, but there was no way that anyone was ever going to actually make it, which I think is funny because I don't know if you guys know who Alexander 23 is, but me and him went to high school together.
Okay.
Okay,
right.
I was actually in the talent shows with him, and I got to know him really well out there. I was actually in his music video when he was a part of the heydays in his first band out of college. It was very, very funny. It's not anywhere anymore. But so there has been great talent coming out of where, where I'm from, but it it really was hard for me to grasp, oh, like I can actually make a living doing music. And, through my own growth and, where I was, my confidence was kind of like, if I can't do it, if I can't be the star or whatever, like I really want to help other people's dreams come true. So I was like, and the way to do that where I can have stability kind of, if I can have stability in my head that the music industry is that way, then, I'll be in management. I love the business. So I actually went to school for arts management, actually in the nonprofit sector, because I also am very interested in philanthropy, but went to college. I was like, oh, I didn't even really need to go to college for this.
Yeah, for sure.
I was like, sweet. Love the college experience. I would not say don't go to school if you want to be in music. You definitely should if you really want to learn the educational side of it. Or business. If you're going to go to college, go for business.
Yeah.
For-profit business, do it. But yeah, other than that, it's like, what it is. So I'm trying to be as not long-winded as possible, but basically, my senior year, I ended up getting 2 internships out in LA, one in licensing, music licensing at Atlantic Records, and for a startup. And this was the first time, and I always wanted to go to LA since I was 13 years old. For some reason, name and lights, LA was where I wanted to go. Uh-huh. And so I got those 2 internships, and that was the first time I realized how much of a relationship business the music industry actually is. Because it's a very funny story, wouldn't have even been in touch with my first job if it wasn't for a flag football game with Ziggy Marley.
If that doesn't sum up the music industry in one sentence, I don't know what does.
Right.
Yeah.
It was from the startup job, not even Atlantic Records. It was the startup job. They're like, hey, and mind you, it was a very funny story. I'll say it real quick. But, I was interning. I was doing Google Sheets. I don't know. And they were like, yeah, we're going to play flag football with Ziggy Marley. You want to come? And I was like, mind you, I'm the only girl. And I was like, sure, but am I going to be like the only girl there? He's like, no, like our girlfriends will come. It's fine. I was like, great. Show up, only girl there. I'm like, awesome.
I love it.
That's what I like. Bunch of dudes playing flag football. I'm going to have the worst time of my life. So again, I am like, no one's trying to, play. I'm like in the middle of the street, just standing there, just being like, okay, in the middle of the field. Like, are you going to pass me? I'm wide open because nope. God forbid I can catch a football. And so I ended up being in the end zone and being like, yo, I'm literally wide open. Pass me the ball. And I got us a touchdown. Hey. From there, the rest is history. Ended up getting defended and made friends with someone on the Ziggy Marley camp. And they posted about this job as an artist manager, which at that point I really knew that I wanted to do. And within a week, maybe I got the job.
Amazing.
So that I like to tell that story because it really just goes to show like what the traditional music industry and honestly, in general, business in general, it's a relationship business. It's saying yes to opportunities and just being uncomfortable and going with it. And then, so I spent about 5 years out there working at Full Stop Management. So right now, from what I understand, they have Harry Styles, they have Meghan Trainor, Lizzo, you name it. They have a lot of the bigger names, Christina Aguilera, John Mayer. And then I worked with Babyface, who, if you don't know who he is 11-time Grammy winner. And then, JD Souther, who's considered to be the fifth Eagle. So they were my go-to clients. And in that time, it was about, I would say 4.5 years I was there. I really learned what it actually takes at a very high level to continue sustaining a career. And even at that level, how much how do I say it? If you don't have the business acumen, how hard it is to actually keep going in the industry.
Yeah.
Because, and I think that's what a lot of artists don't understand. And I think the traditional music industry has really catered to this idea that you can't, as an artist, make your own business. You need a manager. You need people to help you because you, for some reason, can't do it yourself. Yeah. That's kind of what, in my opinion, and how my life has shifted since leaving the traditional music industry, even as a, on the business side, working my way up, my confidence from where I was in the industry, and I don't want to, I'll say my caveat in a second, but where I was to where I am now, even in terms of confidence, I'm pretty spiritual. So like manifesting the things that like I'm making now, almost double what I was making at a full-time job, and I'm working less hours.
Yeah.
So it is a crazy thing to look back at how the traditional music industry, how people think, and I know I'm using like very harsh words, and there are amazing, amazing people in the music industry. So I don't want to negate any of that. They do amazing things as well. These people are incredibly smart, and they're smart business people. But there is this mentality that you as an artist are helpless and you need all these people to be in your pockets in order for you to make a living. And that's kind of what brought me to where I am now.
It is really fascinating because it's often the same story and the same experience, because like you're not kind of given, unless you've gone and experienced it, you're not really given access to the information and how it works. Mm-hmm. And I find that really baffling. It's like, obviously a lot of the new artists that we work with, it's sort of like, what's the first thing that people come in and say? I want a manager.
Yeah.
So, but you haven't even released a record yet. There's no career to manage. Like, what is a manager supposed to do with something that hasn't actually, it's only come into existence in an audio format? That's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Which I find that really, really fascinating. And then there's no sort of any education there. No. In terms of the thought process, and you go about mindset, so important. Yeah. There needs to be stepping stones to get to the, it's like when you want to buy a house, you don't just go in and go, oh yeah, I want to buy a house today. There's a process that you have to go through in order to get to that, incredible thing. And a music career is exactly the same. But it's just, as I say, it's educating artists in that early phase to actually understand. Because if they're expecting something really, really, happening there and then to start with, you're only ever going to sort of, feel let down by the system, I feel. If you don't know any better. So that's why people like yourself doing what you're doing and kind of like, what we're trying to do with Puzzle Maker, with the artist development thing, is, I think, so important now, because obviously that used to exist with the label. It doesn't anymore. That what was artist development is product management now. That kind of tells you all you need to know. So yeah, no, I find that really, really fascinating. Yeah. So you had this experience with LA, and you came back to Chicago to sort of do what it is you're doing now. A big part of what I'm seeing that you're doing now in terms of what you're doing, I find it really interesting, and I would love to hear more about it. I was checking out the stuff that you do with Find Your Voice, which is an organization that you have for young females. I'd love for you to explain a little bit more about that, and kind of like, firstly, sort of like how that idea came about, and then what it is that you're actually doing with those guys now.
Absolutely. So, again, through those, and I love LA, and I still want to go for like months at a time if I can. And really what I got out of there is how to really hone in my craft. And I really did, figuratively and literally, like, found my voice out there. Not only from a standpoint of sonically what I wanted to sound like, what I wanted my production to sound like, how I wanted the lyrics to form. That really all came with the freedom there's just that creative freedom that LA's atmosphere gives, which is very different from the Midwest. And even Nashville, I think, is very different as well. So coming back here, and going through kind of this healing process as well through the 4 years, there's just a lot of things kind of happening. And, it allowed me to really understand, not only finding my voice sonically, but really understanding and gaining the confidence back that what my beliefs are true to me and they're valid. And I should be allowed to speak my truth, and be confident in that. And that when I continue to do that, my people will come. And those two things match together, plus the how-to of the entrepreneurship, right? Okay, I have this vision. I have this, I know my art can do something. I know the kind of people I want to have in my community. How do I do it? So creating this program, is something that I wish I had when I was in high school and in middle school, because it probably would have changed the trajectory of my life. Absolutely. And how I would and where I would be. So what this program really is combining that songwriting, singing, and entrepreneurship together to really help foster leadership and confidence in these young girls, to really understand what's possible in the arts, and even how to use the arts as a healing and as a confidence building tool. And then on top of that, learning business and whatever their vision is, you can still use songwriting techniques and writing. That's going to help you. You need it in almost any business that you use and you do. You need to be able to write and to market. So creating a really safe and supportive environment with like-minded young girls to help them grow is really something that's now my baby, my pride and joy.
Incredible. No, I've been preaching that for years, that it's, that kind of thing should have been integrated into the education system, mainstream education system for years. So, I mean, you didn't even have the chance to do music at school, let alone integrate the entrepreneurial element into it. Yeah,
no, that's the thing. There actually isn't any music at all in Italian high schools. So we only do 3 years of music in middle school, but then at that point you're really young and you can't really fully experience it. And when I seriously got into music, which was when I was about 14, at that point I'd already finished middle school, so I didn't really have the chance then to do anything and to think, and as you say, think about it professionally. Then it's just a whole separate thing that just doesn't really even exist, in the Italian school system.
Yeah, well, I mean, as I say, the even in the UK, it's not really there's that obviously when you do what you call your GCSEs from 14 to 16, but there's no sort of we'll teach you how to play the guitar or the flute or the piano. Yeah, but there's nothing that goes beyond that. There's not even at that stage there's not even anything songwriting based, really. Yeah. You basically you get given in your last year, you go, right, you're going to be marked on how to sing a song. Mm-hmm. That's it. Yeah, that's it. My understanding of writing songs was I just happened to go on a thing that the school had put on the last week of term because there was nothing else to do, and we all got to go into a recording studio, and I just sort of by complete fluke discovered that I could write songs. But I was never given a structured opportunity like what you're providing here for people to actually, if you've got a dream, if you can write songs and then this is how you implement it, that's incredible. That's, unheard of pretty much definitely in the UK, definitely in Southern Europe for sure. Absolutely. It's we're way behind in terms of giving people that, level of education. So that's absolute hats off to you for something like that. That is a really special thing.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's really interesting that it's so weird to me because there's so much math that we learn in high school that I've never used in my entire life. And will never use my entire life. But even just like what you said, showing kids how, and I think, and I really believe this, that adults don't give kids enough credit, and they're way smarter and more aware than we think that they are. And so I had a kid, one of my students was like, yeah, I'm making bracelets and I want to make this business. And her mom literally was like, oh, well, I don't want to have to ask my kids, like my friends to buy their stuff. And I'm like,
what?
Yeah,
I know.
Like, what? No way. Like, so giving them an environment where they can actually just, like, you're just so unapologetic at like that middle school age.
Yeah.
And if we just continue to foster that like era and that innocence a little bit longer, it will, and that like imagination, I don't see how it could hurt.
Mm-hmm.
No, I completely agree. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think the one positive they got, that you obviously, the new generation coming through, you've kind of got that kind of, the thing I think that might give it a little bit more legs moving forward is the concept of being an entrepreneur is now the thing.
Yeah,
that's what everyone wants to be. That's the new NBA star. That's the new soccer star. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I think that will be really, really encouraging moving forward. I think we'll actually end up having a healthier, more balanced society as a whole moving forward. We're getting quite deep with this, but I think it's that's how my brain works, unfortunately.
Same. That's why we're friends.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's only, as I say, all these things are a positive, thing moving forward, and as I say, helping develop and respect that imagination, that craft, and that willingness to create at an earlier stage than any of us had the opportunity to do, I think is really exciting. So, like, moving on to my final question, you might have answered it earlier, but obviously when I first met you at the Millennium Music Conference in Harrisburg, obviously you were there as an artist. Are there any plans for you as an artist moving forward in terms of new music? Are you writing new stuff? Is there stuff on the horizon? Is there shows coming up? Any of that kind of stuff? Because obviously, as I say, you do all this incredible, amazing stuff, but you are a really great songwriter. And, I'm a big fan of your music. Have been ever since you first showed it to me. So I would love to hear if there's anything coming forward. This is purely as a fan wanting to get the scoop now.
Thank you. So actually it's interesting because I would say this past year was extremely transformational for me, and I'm finally feeling like I can create again. So I wrote my first, I need to send you that. I think you're going to love this last song. It's literally a song about not writing.
Love it. Yeah, been there, done that, got a ticket. Yeah, love it.
But yeah, so I'm starting to get some production on some of the songs I've been holding on. Something else and I'll give you the exclusive because I have no idea if this is actually going to happen, but it's a new concept. I love to hear your opinion on it.
Yeah.
So as I kind of go into this more, like, again, I'm like constantly growing and healing and, doing all the fun crap. What I'm realizing with how I write and, that I do have a lot of writer's block, and I'm like, why? And I was talking to someone and they were like, it's because you are so addicted to that like craft and like you're in your head that like you should just like meditate and just like sing and meditate at the same time and just see what comes out. And I was like, that's really cool. Okay. So,
love it. Yeah.
So, I'm thinking about doing this project where I literally they were like, don't think of like what the lyrics mean, just write it down and sing a melody of anything that comes through and really just be a channel for whatever comes through. And I was like, that could be a really cool project. So I am thinking of coming up with a collection of songs, hopefully in the next year. I'm still working on my other ones, but this one, I already have. It's going to be called Not My Songs. And it's just going to be a collection of songs that like are very much just whatever comes out. It might, and I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that would be an interesting thing?
I think it's amazing. I mean, you're big into your meditation.
Yeah, it's
so
brilliant. It reminds me of a bit of the concept. Morning pages. There's the Artist's Way. I think it's Julia Michaels. But it's basically a book for any kind of artist to get people into the flow and like writing, any kind of writing. So obviously songwriting fits here as well. And she encourages people to just wake up in the morning and do what she calls morning pages, and just basically get into a flow state and write down everything that comes to mind. And I feel like, what you're going to try and do with this project is just very similar, but obviously just aimed at songwriting. So yeah, you might get some really cool stuff because just let it all happen and you see what comes naturally. I think it's really exciting.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. I've been singing after I've been singing through meditation like the past couple of days, and honestly, I would highly recommend it. Like, I don't know if it's just like me, but like I have like a literal visceral reaction.
Yep.
And it's nuts. I'm like, oh, wow. Like I needed this. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
And the things that have been coming out are very raw lyrics. Like I like had today it was like, well, I like listened to it in my head and then it was like, this is a story of a girl. so that was like one of the lines, but it was like, I forgot. I'll have to send it to you guys. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that kind of comes to fruition. But yeah, I have a couple songs that are getting ready I want to make sure I just have everything ready, go through the actual marketing because these songs I want to actually have heard.
Yeah.
And so soon there are things that's the long-winded answer.
Amazing. So exciting. Well, thank you very much for that. That was really insightful, and I'm sure the guys are going to love that. Now, something a little bit less intense. We're not going to be saving the world so much in this in this segment, but I'll pass you on to Drea. Who's going to hit you up with some quick fire questions, I believe.
Yeah. So we like to finish these episodes with some quick fire questions just to get more inside of the character of our guests. And the questions going to be quick, but the answer you can go into as much detail as you like.
Okay.
So first one, what is your desert island disc?
Ooh, Nora Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Great choice.
Any like a specific album?
No, just any Nora
all
Jones.
of it.
I have no specific.
Bring the whole collection to the island. That's fine. That's absolutely
whole
fine.
collection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. What's the first concert that you attended?
Avril Lavigne.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
That's
Avril
really
Lavigne.
good.
I had the fishnet gloves.
Of course you did. I can see
Cool
that.
girl skater skirt. I was so angsty. It was amazing. Loved it.
that.
Yeah, that is top. Yeah. Brilliant. What is the one book you would recommend to our audience?
Ooh, I just read one and I was like, yes, this is so helpful. Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert.
There we go.
It's a great book.
Amazing. And two lines. What is it about?
It is basically about how to stay creative, how to allow yourself to let things go, manifest. It's basically just like how to create.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great.
That was like the worst.
Perfectly.
That was like the worst explanation I could have ever given.
No, it's all good.
It's about creativity and how to foster it.
There we go.
Nailed it.
Nice.
Nailed it first time.
Got it. Saved myself. There we go.
Amazing. So next one is, do you have a quote you live your life by or think of often?
These are not rapid questions. These are like
these are Drea quick fire questions.
I didn't say like the questions.
Okay, I was like thinking like favorite food. Okay. Like
tea or coffee. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't buy tea in America. It's horrible.
I don't drink coffee, so I agree.
Yeah.
I live by. I'm like going blank because I'm like nervous.
We can come back to it if you like.
Yeah, come back to it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. So I saw on your Instagram profile, and we've actually already spoken about it in the episode, that you're into meditation.
Yes.
So do you have any morning rituals or any ways that you like to start your day off?
Yes, I do.
Nice.
So I'll wake up and I do this. I'm not proud of it, but I do look at Daily Mail first thing in the morning.
Okay.
Every time.
Cool.
Love it. Love the pop culture. It's just trash. And then I'll go and I have my little meditation mat. And I'll sit on that. I'll take about probably like 2 to 3 of my crystals. I'm a big crystal person.
Oh, cool.
Meditate for about 10 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And drink a big glass of water and then start my day.
That sounds great. Yeah, sounds really good. What do you use any particular apps or anything for meditation?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I use Unplug, which is, I actually am certified at Unplug as a guided meditation teacher.
Awesome.
So I use theirs. I really like it. It's just, you have to pay for it. Yeah. And then I also do Insight Timer, which is absolutely thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that one has like 60,000 free meditations.
Yeah.
So
yeah, brilliant. Amazing. Well, we'll put all these links in the show notes for anyone who wants to go and check all this out.
Awesome.
So do we have a quote by now or should I carry on?
The quote is, it.
Is that going on your gravestone?
Like usually, honestly, I'll like think to myself, like, and this is why. Literally, I'll like think to myself, I overthink a lot. So you can either use that one, or what I really preach to myself and what I preach to my clients is like, if you keep doing you, your people will come.
Love it.
So that it's a little less censored. But
that's a very good one.
Yeah. Continue to do you unapologetically and your people will find you. I think that's important.
Amazing. Yeah. All right. So let's move. This is a little bit of an odd one, but I have noticed that Americans tend to specify the name of the state a lot of the time when they're mentioning a city, right? So they'll go like Austin, Texas, Portland, Oregon, like they'll sort of specify the state. Okay. But not all the time. There's other times when they won't. So San Francisco, Chicago, Nashville, LA, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I was wondering, is there a rule as to when you'd specify the state and when you don't? Or how does it work?
We had about a half an hour conversation about this the other day.
Legit.
We were like, we have to ask Jillian. That is the perfect opportunity. So we've been stewing on this for about 2 weeks.
That's a great question. Wow. Oh my God. Honestly, that's fantastic. I would say you don't need to use the state if it's like a big, like I don't want to call them tiered. Whoa. The biggest cities. So like Chicago, New York, LA, Nashville.
Yeah.
Like all of those are pretty, there's nothing else. There's no other cities or towns in the world that are called those things. Austin, there are towns, other towns and things that are called, even though normally you're talking about Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would say, if it's like the big ones.
Yeah.
Like San Francisco, there's no other San Francisco.
Yeah. Okay, so we figured it would be something.
Finally figured it out. I feel so happy.
Yeah, no, me too. We thought it would be something like that.
I don't know if that's like for sure, but that's kind of how
it would make sense.
Have
definitely
grown up with it, where it's like I think it makes sense.
Yeah, definitely it would make sense. So there we go.
We know it now.
So now we know what we need to do there.
Basically, because America's massive and the UK isn't. Yeah, it's the simple answer to the question. That's exactly. 2 hours. That's 2 hours of our lives we'll never get back.
That is brilliant.
Hilarious.
And just a final one. Do you have any ask or request for our audience or any parting words?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to follow me on Instagram, I am currently doing monthly themes that really help are catered towards creatives. This month is all going to be about how you actually find your community and what you can do with this community through Instagram. What I do with private clients is that I am a music branding coach. So I do a lot of the foundational work, really helping you refocus your goals, refocus your mission, who you are, and then building that community and engagement from there through Instagram. So if you're interested in that, please feel free to give me a DM. And yeah.
Fantastic. Well, we'll put all the links that you've mentioned and your Instagram in the show notes as well, so people can hit you up directly.
Cool.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for being on this episode with us. It's been fantastic, and for sharing your knowledge with us.
I'm so glad to be a part of this. You guys are amazing. So thank you so much for having me.
Hey, very, very welcome. As I say, yeah, thank you so much. It's been a special one, as always. Thank you to everybody for listening, and thank you to Jillian for swinging by.
Absolutely. And just a final reminder for our listeners that our brand new online course, The Modern Artist Pathway, is now live, and we are running a 50% off early bird discount to anyone who enrolls between now and June 30th, 2021. It covers all aspects of being a professional artist, from setting up and successfully monetizing your business, to branding, to releasing your music, to personal and professional development tips and tricks, and with legal and music industry advice too. So for more info and to enroll, head to puzzlemakeracademy.thinkific.com. That's puzzlemakeracademy.thinkific.com, or just tap the link in the show notes. And also don't forget to sign up to our mailing list, which goes out once a month and keeps you up to date with all the latest news from the worlds of the Puzzle Maker Academy and Puzzle Maker Studios, and gives you also useful free bonus content. Thanks again for listening, and hit subscribe to get notified of future episodes. Take care. Until next time.